I went to guitar class a few weeks ago, and the song we were learning that day was Nightmoves by Bob Seger. Whenever I think of Bob Seger, the song Turn the Page also comes to my mind, and I've always loved Metallica's cover of the song. In fact, I actually prefer their version to the original, and I never understood why they never used their version of the song on Guitar Hero Metallica. But that's a discussion for another time. Today I want to talk about how Metallica came to record the song, how the video ended up starring adult actress Ginger Lynn, and how it resulted in some controversy. By the mid to late 90s, Metallica was on a creative streak, releasing 4 albums in 4 years, with 1996's Load, the following year's Reload, 1998's Garage Inc., and 1999's S&M. Garage Inc. was a release that consisted of covers and saw the band pay homage to their influences. One of the songs on the album and the lead single from the release was a cover of the Bob Seger song Turn the Page. The single Turn the Page would reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot Mainstream Rock Tracks chart for 11 consecutive weeks, and it would be the highest number of weeks that Metallica ever spent at the top in their career. I don't know about where you guys live, but if I'm listening to local rock radio, that's maybe one of 6 Metallica songs I hear on constant rotation. Bob Seger had written the song back in the 70s about the loneliness and hardships of being a traveling musician. It would be Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich who came up with the idea for the band to cover the song, claiming in an interview he heard the Bob Seger version when he was driving in San Francisco across the Golden Gate Bridge and recalled, and I quote, "It had James Hetfield all over it." Guitarist Kirk Hammett would talk about covering the song during a promotional interview for Garage Inc., saying, "It's a very odd choice. I'm not a big Bob Seger fan, but Turn the Page is a great song about being on the road. It's kind of ballady, but when you hear it, you can really picture James singing it," he'd say. Seger, for his part, sometimes had trouble with musicians covering his material, admitting in an interview, "It seems like the only people who do my stuff are these really off-the-wall cats looking for really off-the-wall stuff." But Turn the Page, for its part, had been covered numerous times, including by an Australian singer named John English, who actually won several awards for his performance of the song. And while Seger's song would tell the story of life on the road as a touring musician, the band for their music video would shine a light on the hard life of single mothers who have to make ends meet and provide for their children by being sex workers or stripping. The video would see shots of the band performing the song, while also starring adult actress Ginger Lynn, who portrays a single mother living in a motel with her daughter. By this point in Lynn's career, she was still acting in adult films, but branching out into more mainstream roles. Lynn would tell PopGeeks.com that she initially turned down the offer to appear in the video several times over the course of 3 months. She would admit the reason for her turning down the role, claiming that she thought it would be denigrating and involve her bouncing around naked in the video. On top of that, Turn the Page was one of her favorite Bob Seger songs, so she had some reservations about the band covering the track. But she eventually agreed to meet director Jonas Åkerlund, recalling how she changed her mind about the role after meeting him, but there was still one problem. She would tell PopGeek, "I went in and I sat down with the director and he told me a story that just touched me so deeply. I wanted that role more than anything I'd ever wanted. I got the phone call the next day from the casting director. Now remember, they'd been trying to get me for 3 months to do this role, and the casting director said to me, 'Well, Jonas absolutely loves you, but you're too thin and you look too good.' In order to get the role, Lynn would have to gain 10 to 15 pounds, and she would add in the same interview, 'If I had to say there was something that I'm most proud of, that I've done in my mainstream career, I'm going to put Turn the Page right up there.' According to Lynn in the same interview, Jonas had made the video into a short film and entered it into some film festivals where it would take home several awards. As for the music video itself, it ruffled a few feathers. The director of the video, Jonas Åkerlund, had previously directed Prodigy's video for Smack My Expletive Up, but due to the fistfights, sexual scenes, and allegedly misogynistic language in the lyrics, the song was removed from MTV after several weeks. If you guys didn't know, Åkerlund also used to run a circus back home in Sweden and play as a drummer in a Swedish death metal act before coming to America. The video for Turn the Page would see Lynn playing a single mother who strips during the day and works as a sex worker during the night, only to meet a John who assaults her with her daughter in the next room. Both the Prodigy video and Turn the Page drew criticism from women's rights groups, and Åkerlund would tell MTV in 1998, "Sometimes when I hear stuff about it, I realize that the people that say stuff haven't seen it." The director would come up with the idea for Turn the Page, drawing from his own life experiences and looking at the lyrics. While at first glance you may not see the similarities, Åkerlund is a single parent himself, telling MTV, "She has the same kind of problems that a lot of people have every day, but she's into something else. I'm a single father and I do work a lot, and I should be more with my kid, and I'm struggling in life like a lot of people do. I'm not planning on hooking or stripping, but I do other stuff. We all have our different problems." While women's rights groups cried foul at the video, the director would claim the video's message was getting lost, telling MTV, "I hate violence, I'm against violence, but sometimes when you have an idea, to make the idea really strong, you need to go all the way." If I have that kind of idea, I have to go all the way, he'd say. A week after the video premiered on MTV in November of 1998, the network would reach out to the band's publicist, Joel Amsterdam, but the band declined to comment, but did release a statement on why they covered the track, saying they liked the song because of the road dog aspect of it, talking about that life and what that's like and to experience that kind of loneliness. They used the video as a metaphor for loneliness in general and the kind of toll it takes on people's lives. Any information on what the band was thinking and what the director was thinking has to come from them, they'd say. The band's fans seemed to get the video's message, though, with MTV publishing a letter that a 16-year-old fan named Justin Thompson wrote in saying, "I think the band was trying to make people realize that people are just trying to get by however they can, so I think they chose it to symbolize all the people who are trying to make it through the day." The network would also highlight a woman named Fatima Jaffer, who worked as an information coordinator for the Vancouver, British Columbia-based Women's Support Center, who criticized the band, saying, "I don't think Metallica is all that qualified to make deep comments about women. To do so without context, it's easy to misread. I myself prefer them to stay away from subjects like this that can do a lot of damage and leave it to organizations like us. Basically, profiting from music that's on this topic is something I totally stand opposed to." The network would even interview a lawyer named David Levy, who represented a group named Children's Rights Council in Washington, D.C., who was upset with the daughter being left alone in a motel room while her mother works at night, saying, "I'd say Metallica should be prosecuted under child endangerment laws because kids are watching that at home on MTV." MTV would report that a week after the video aired, they hadn't received any viewer complaints about the video, and I couldn't find any evidence that it was banned. So how did Bob Seger feel about the band covering his song? Well, here's what he had to say.
I loved it. Yeah. It was great. They told me they were going to do it, and I loved it. I really like the drums, especially. Because our drums are really simple, and what a cool take on it. It's been done before. Yeah, I won a Grammy in Australia. Another guy did it in Australia, won a Grammy doing it.
That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe. We'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.